Hey, I'm Ruth Fox. I'm 19 years old and I'm a mental health campaigner, public speaker, and author. I was first diagnosed with depression at 14 years old when I was in year 9. My sister went to university and I found that very challenging to have like a family member taken away. And also picked up an injury at the same time. And I play football, so it was difficult to kind of control those emotions because normally that would be my outlet. I guess people first started to notice things were up when I refused to go into school, which was unusual for me. Always been a kind of very academic and sporty and enjoyed the company of people. So for me, that was something that was kind of an alarm bell, I guess. I went to the doctor, and that's when I was diagnosed with clinical depression and put on fluoxetine, which is an antidepressant, and also referred to therapy at the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service, but just put on like a 6-month waiting list. When I went back to school, I didn't have any time off school. When I went back to school the next day, I was told I had to be in school. So my days would consist of not going to any lessons, but driving to school in floods of tears, 40-minute drive, getting to school, crying with the school nurse for like 20 minutes, and then driving home again in floods of tears. So it wasn't particularly useful for me. Didn't feel like I should have been in that environment at all. But I was told kind of like keeping a structure of the school day would help me, which I understand, but it was very challenging. And but for me, medication did start to kick in. So within 3-4 weeks, I started to attend more lessons. So I attend 1 and then on to 2 and then back to being a full-time student again. And I actually gained a lot of kind of strength and confidence from going through that adversity at such a young age as well. Never come across mental health or mental illness before in my life, so I kind of gained a real level of understanding and empathy through going through that at 14 years of age. But because I'd never been educated about mental illness and the nature of it, I thought that depression was something you went through once, a bit like chickenpox or something, and you never go through it ever again. But unfortunately, like as we know, that's not the case. And in my last year of school, in year 13, probably the most important year where you get those grades that determine your future. And I was predicted 3 A's and ready to go to a top university. I relapsed, and it was caused by my nan going into hospital. She'd fractured her hip. It wasn't major, but I guess I found that kind of seeing someone in a vulnerable position very hard to deal with. So I really denied that this is what I was going through. I kind of put it down to academic stress, or I don't know, I just hoped that depression was something I'd never have to go through again, but I was wrong. The first person I approached was my biology teacher, Mr. Donahue, who I just literally told him that I'm really struggling, and he was very kind of accepting and didn't judge me, or he just listened. I spoke to him for every single day until I finished school, emailed him literally hundreds of times probably, just unloading to him. He'd make me a cup of tea and we'd just sit and chat and I'd unload, and to be honest, that helped more than any CAMS support worker, any school nurse, anything like that. I still stay in touch with him now. I meet him for a cup of tea because he had such a life-changing impact on me. I think it's important to mention, students are human beings above all else. We're all human beings, and for me, it felt like we were on the same level, despite the fact he was a teacher and I was a student. It felt like we were on the same level, and he was there to support me. He went above and beyond to absolutely just be there for me. I always describe depression as being like you're drowning in the middle of the ocean and you can't see any beach or shore, and it's incredibly painful. But he didn't stop me from drowning, but he was like in a little boat next to me, so I wasn't alone whilst I was drowning. I think everyone should kind of take a leaf out of his book. If he had someone in detention and I needed a chat, then he would send them away because I was a priority. Probably one of the most busy teachers in that school, but he still took the time to support me, really. And if I had meetings with my head of sixth form and CAMS and my parents, he'd always be there. He was nothing more than a biology teacher. He wasn't anything pastoral or even my tutor. He was just a teacher. But because we had that level of understanding, we had a strong relationship, he was kind of the person that almost represented me in those meetings, because sometimes I wasn't even in the right headspace to be able to kind of communicate. But when I left school kind of this time last year, unfortunately things didn't get much better. I ended up kind of reaching a real low point where I've attempted to take my own life. I've self-harmed a significant amount. But I guess it's for people like Mr. Donahue that I'm still here, because I know that people care about me in the world, and I think teachers in general can have a truly life-changing impact, if not life-saving impact, on young people. It's a more important job than a lot of people will kind of give credit for. And now I'm in a much better position. I'm actually going to be a published author. So, I didn't finish my my English A-level. I don't have any A-levels, but I'm going to be a published author. I go into schools and I talk to young people. I talk to teachers and I talk to parents about mental health, share my story with them. Just hope no one else has to go through what I've been through, and just to share the message that it's okay not to be okay, and especially kind of listening and reaching out is vitally important. So yeah, if I have one message for teachers, it's students are people above all else, and they need to be treated and listened to. A one-to-one chat with a student could actually have a life-changing impact on them. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.